So yeah, guys, I recognize that this is not my usual shooting venue to do reviews, but I just went and saw Abigail, which was directed by the Radio Silence guys, and I need to talk about this one. So yeah, this is the new gory R-rated horror film. It's centered around a vampire. We haven't seen a great vampire movie in a long, long time. But this is directed by the same team that brought you the Ready or Not movie, which came out, I think, 5 years ago around this point. They also just brought you the last two Scream movies in those reboots. And we follow a group of would-be criminals who kidnap the 12-year-old daughter of a powerful underworld figure, and they hold her for ransom in an isolated mansion. But their plan starts to unravel when they discover that their young captive is actually a bloodthirsty vampire. And not just a vampire, a ballerina vampire. And of course, as I'm sure many people are aware, ballerina vampires are a lot more lethal. I guess. No, but kidding aside, this team of directors have put out some really fun, scary movies. Ready or Not was such a fun concept. And the last two movies in the Scream universe, say what you want about the trajectory of that franchise right now, but those movies were really darn fun. And they captured everything that I loved about the original Scream movies that Wes Craven made so famous. So after seeing the trailer for Abigail and seeing how bloody this was going to be, I was definitely antsy to see this one. And lo and behold, I absolutely adored this movie. These directors know how to make something really fun, and they know how to create this super macabre ambiance around everything. Like, I was just so sucked into the world of this movie, no pun intended. And every step of this narrative, every step of this mystery, I just could not help but want to find out what happened next. And that's honestly something that I loved about Abigail, is that it was a movie that was always keeping you guessing. This is not going to be your conventional vampire movie. It's not even going to be your conventional scary movie, per se. There's a lot of tropes that they happen to flip on their heads, and they work for the most part. And I think the shot composition is really well done. The scary factor, definitely well done. There is blood everywhere. I was talking to my friend Jacob Hubbard about this earlier today because I know that he absolutely adored this movie. This didn't just remind me of a vampire movie, but honestly, looking at how much blood there was, it honestly kind of reminded me of an Evil Dead movie. With how much blood there was, it made me think of Evil Dead Rise last year. With how much I adored that movie, and with how much I adored that Halloween Horror Nights maze based on Evil Dead Rise, don't be surprised if there's a maze this year centered around this movie. And of course, I gotta talk about all these performers that they have here. Melissa Barrera really is the modern queen of horror. This is a character that is so easy to root for, but she does not come without her faults. In a sense, like any human being. There's so much realism behind this movie, as campy and as cheesy as it may be. And I feel like that's something else that might turn a lot of people off of Abigail, is the overall camp. But I think with how these directors are handling this material and with how much respect they are giving this material, I think the camp honestly works. This is a very funny script. There's a lot of snarky dialogue in here, which it feels right up my alley, man. But getting back to the performances, Melissa Barrera was obviously fantastic. You have Kathryn Newton in here, who plays kind of the hacker of these criminals. She's got tattoos written all over her. This is very out of her comfort zone, and I think she nails it. Dan Stevens is another one who really impressed me in this movie, especially as you get closer to the finale, as you get closer to the actual resolution. He is really cheesing every frame up. I can't wait to see where he goes next with his career. And rest in peace, Angus Cloud. This is a performer who was taken from us way too soon. He was magnificent in this movie. He's not in the movie for very long, but with the scenes that you get from him, man, is he fun to watch. And speaking of people who aren't in the movie for very long, Giancarlo Esposito, Gus from Breaking Bad, loved him. He's the guy who's kind of setting the stage for our players here. He's the guy who's kind of putting forward the rules. And I think there was no better person to set the tone for this movie. But I feel like Abigail really rests on the shoulders of Abigail herself, played by young Alisha Weir. She steals this movie. Point blank, she is absolutely creepy, she is funny, she is heartwarming. Like, there is just so much emotional range that is put into this small 12-year-old vampire. Like, this is a girl who is playing Matilda in the musical version of Matilda, so she's got to have a lot of emotional capacity to play big roles like this. And this is such a promising young talent. I cannot wait to see what else she does with her career. But overall, guys, Abigail is a freaking blast. The Radio Silence team absolutely knows what they're doing, especially if they have scary material. I feel like there's a lot of possibility for an open Abigail world if they wanted to make spin-offs, if they wanted to make sequels centered around this material. Like, this flick might turn out to be one of the most rewatchable ones to come out of this year. And I know it's only April, it might be a little bit too early to say that, but Abigail was so much fun. And if you're a scary movie fan, you're gonna love seeing this on the big screen. If I'm nitpicking a couple of things about Abigail, because I don't think every movie is perfect and or flawless, as much as I loved it, I'm really grasping for straws here. But there's some rules that they establish in this movie about who can or cannot be a vampire. I'm gonna be very vague about this because I don't want to spoil anything. But you know how I said the movie definitely tries hard to be different and go against the status quo of scary movies? Sometimes that can work to its disadvantage because there are certain rules that the script will set up, and then very quickly they will very easily break them to get to the ending that they want. And even though the ending of this movie, obviously not going to give it away, the ending of this movie 1000% works. It is an awesome finale. It felt like a bit of a cop-out to get there, I'm not going to lie. And even though, as I've mentioned, this is a very good script and the script can be very funny, there are bits and pieces of this dialogue that feel very exposition dumpy and very specific. But those little lines are absolutely needed in order to advance the story in the way they want to go. Besides that, guys, Abigail is a freaking instant treasure in the horror genre. I encourage you guys, if you're into scary movies like I am, I suggest you run, don't walk to your nearest movie theater to see this one. I'm going to give Abigail an A, and that is a high stamp of approval, a high recommend A. But let me know if you guys saw Abigail. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought. And let me know what your favorite scary movie is of all time. What's your favorite vampire movie of all time, too? I know there's going to be a few dweebs in the comments that say Twilight, and I'm expecting that with that question, but yeah, this movie is way better than Twilight. But I love discussing all new things in movies and entertainment over here on The Regular. If you guys have stumbled upon this channel for the first time through this video, welcome. I encourage you guys to become a subscriber today and tap on that thumbs up if you haven't already. And the month of May looks very stacked over here. We got the Fall Guy, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We got that Furiosa movie coming out. It's looking like us cinephiles are going to be eating good this summer. And I can't wait to share all of my thoughts with you guys and then some. But y'all are the best. Thank you again for tuning in. And with all that being said, back talk commence.